Hello again and welcome to another edition of Shed Talk. As you can probably see, it's time to start closing down the breeding cages for my summer break. I just removed the nest box from cage 6. We're going to have a look at all of the current breeding cages and how the breed, what we're doing in each of them in just a second. As always, if you enjoy the videos, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and if you want to get early notifications, then click on the bell. Please do like the video and share if you wish to, and don't forget, I do read all of the comments and they do influence what I put in the various videos, so please do continue to comment. Well, I just got to get rid of this nest box, and I'll see you again shortly. Well, before we go on and have a quick whiz round the various breeding cages, see what's in them and where we are in terms of closing them down and removing the birds and the chicks, I've recently been rereading this very old book called The Genetics of Budgerigars. It's by F. Crew and R. Lamy. I say it's fairly old, 1935, so pre-war was when it was produced. I found it online, luckily, and managed to get a PDF version of it, downloaded it, and have printed it off so that I can read it. I'm not sure if you Google it, you may still come across it, although I seem to, the last time I looked, I couldn't find it again. So, but hopefully you'll be able to. Anyway, like I say, fairly old, but what's interesting is, for me, my point of view, is that many of the mutations that we now take for granted aren't in there, but also some of the terminology that we currently use has changed. And one of those I came across was the term yellow. So they were talking about the yellow mutation, and this threw me a little bit initially because it wasn't a term that I've seen or heard very often in many of the other guides around genetics. I'm sure most of you will know when Crew and Lamy are referring to the yellow, what they're referring to. So I'll ask that question. So what budgerigar were they referring to, or what mutation were they referring to when they spoke about the yellow mutation? And I'll give the answer to that. It's just a bit of fun. I'll give the answer to that after we've looked at cage 3. As usual then, let's start off with cage 1. You may remember the cockbird in cage 1 has been in there since the start of my breeding season. With his first hen, lots of eggs, but none of them full. With this hen that he's in with now, in the first round, a couple of the eggs were full, but unfortunately didn't hatch. They were dead in shell, which was really unfortunate given that this cockbird, I'm sure you'll be aware, is probably, from my point of view, the best bird in my bird room. With these on the second round with this hen, and unfortunately all of the eggs were clear. He did, or the pair did foster a couple of eggs from cage 3, which is the cage where we've got the hen that is clucking. Only one of those, or two of them hatched. One died straight after hatching. One didn't hatch one of the eggs, and the final one has hatched. And the chick is doing well currently in the nest box. I think it's going to be a cinnamon. It does seem to have plum eyes. It's quite dark in the feather, or in the what would normally be I suppose the cinnamon colour rather than the black on the wings and the other areas. Does appear to be quite dark for a cinnamon, and the feet are quite dark as well. So. But I'm reasonably certain that it's going to be a cinnamon. My plan now is, as soon as this chick comes out of the nest box and I see it even having a go at feeding itself, the cockbird will go straight back into the flight, and I'll just leave the hen to finish off with the chick. This cockbird will then spend the rest of the summer in the flight, and I might get him out to a couple of shows if I can this year. He missed the shows because of lockdown, and then I may give him another couple of rounds or another couple of tries in the spring of 2022. So that is cage 1. So if we move on to cage 2, relatively new pair, and so they've had a rather strange period. So they had a number of eggs, a full round in their first round. They had, I believe it was 6 eggs, all of which were clear. Hen started laying again, and then the eggs went missing. And this, we're reasonably sure that it was the hen, because she has a bit of a history of being an egg eater. I was going to, as she started laying for the 3rd round, I was going to move the eggs. But as with the 1st round, she's sat on them fine and hasn't. There's been no disturbance with them. Fortunately, all of them are clear, so it's probably the cockbird. So I'm now removing the cockbird from this pair, and I'll gradually start removing the eggs, and so this pair will be split. Today I'll just show you the cockbird. So still relatively young, so it was his first go. So maybe I'll give him another go in the autumn time and see how we get on with him then. So that's cage 2, pair split, sat on clear eggs. Going to start removing. Moving on to cage 3. So this is cage 3. This is it's probably, in terms of production of chicks, probably the best pair I've had. On their 3rd round, and once again, it was 8 eggs in total. First one was a double yolker and was addled. And of those that were full, we've currently got one that we've just looked at in cage 1. There are 2 in here that are now feeding themselves, so but have been feather plucked, just like before. But they are feeding themselves. And then we've got 2 in cage, 1 in cage 5 from this pair. So my plan now is, because the chicks are feeding themselves, I'm going to remove the cockbird, so I don't want this hen to go down again. I'm sure she's about to. She keeps going in and out of the nest box and sitting in there for some time. So my plan is to remove the cockbird now. But if she does start laying, then I'll have a look and see what the eggs are like. But I'm hoping that she won't lay, or if she does lay, they'll all be clear. So plan for pair 3 now then is to remove this cockbird, and we'll take a quick look at him once again as we do for cage 1. So that is cage 3. Well, before we move on to cage 4, let's answer the question we posed at the beginning of the video when they were referring in that very old book on genetics to the yellow. What mutation is that more commonly called, I suppose, in this day and age? And the answer, of course, as I'm sure most of you got, is dilute, as a sort of supplementary question, I suppose, or the bonus round, so to speak. There are 2 other mutations, or at least 2 other mutations, linked to the same gene as the dilute. So they're sat on the same locus and in the same gene family. What are those other 2 mutations that are linked to the same gene as the dilute? So 2 other mutations linked to the same gene as the dilute. So cage 4 then, this is a relatively new pair, or was a relatively new pair. I've just split them. The hen actually only ever laid 1 egg, so which is very strange. So she laid 1 egg, she's sitting on 1 egg and hasn't laid anything else since. My guess is she wasn't quite in condition. the egg is clear, so I've moved the cock bird. So here's a quick look at that cock bird. I've moved him now out of the breeding cage. I'll let the hen sit on the egg for probably about another 3 or 4 days. I'm then going to remove that egg and close the nest box, getting ready to move the hen back into the hen flight. The cock, of course, will go straight back into the cockbird flight. Moving on to cage 5, this pair again is a relatively new pair. On their first round, laid 6 eggs. First 5 were clear, final one, the cock finally understood what he was supposed to do and was full. So we had 1 full egg in here. We also moved a couple of eggs from cage 3 where the hen clucker was. One of those hatched, so we actually have 2 young birds in the nest box. Once they're out and feeding, my plan is to split this pair as I'm splitting all the others. Give both of them a rest. The hen actually is one of those hens that I wanted to get something off, but when I tried her earlier on in the year, she just wasn't ready and didn't produce anything. Luckily enough, the 2 chicks, you may remember when I was ringing them, they were 1 day apart. So I basically rung the chick that was hatched first, which was from cage 3, and then I rung the chick that hatched second, which is their own chick. Now they're feathering up, I can see the difference because their own chick is a yellow-faced grey, and as the only grey factor out of the 2 pairs, so pair 3 and this pair, is pair 4. Is the pair in cage 5. It's clear that that's their own chick. So made life a bit easier in the end because of that. So that's cage 5. Let's have a quick look at cage 6. Cage 6 is, you saw me at the beginning of the video, removing the nest box, already split. Cockbirds back in the cockbird flight, hens having probably about another week in the breeding cage. I'll then move her to the hen cage. I normally like to give the hen a little bit of time on her own, as you saw from one of the other videos where I spoke about how I split the birds. So that is all of the cages done. So that's a complete update on the breeding cages as I bring the breeding season to a close. Well, that is just about all we've got time for in this video. Hope you enjoyed it. As for the answer to the question, what are the other 2 mutations that sit on the same gene as the dilute? I'll answer that in the next shed update. In the meantime, if you want to find out, I do have a beginner's guide to genetics set of videos, and also a PDF document that covers this. I'll put a link to the PDF document in the description. If you want to have a look at the mutation videos, so the genetic videos, then if you go onto the channel site, you should be able to find them on there reasonably easily. Well, like I say, that's just about it. As always, please do stay safe and enjoy your birds.